Hi everybody. I am coming to you live today from the wonderful Escape Java Joint in Madison, Wisconsin. And I've got some work being done on my house, so I'm not able to record from there. So if you hear jazz in the background, you're really hearing it because they've got some playing. It's a really cool place to be. I wanted to talk a little bit about the what I called Secrets of a Girl Detective. And this is just a kind of a silly title to get at some stuff that I feel is kind of serious about what we're looking at when we talk about V.I. Warshawski and who she is. And just as I did with the announcement, I want to start out with the two witches. And I don't know even how I got there, except that I came across this picture of the Wicked Witch of the West. And it really jogged my memory. It made me think about so much about compromises. We've been talking about compromises all the way through the class. In other words, what does an individual have to give up in order to be a good detective? According to the literature that we've read, they have to give up quite a bit. They get quite a bit, but they have to give up some things that most of us hold tremendously dear. And I think we see that played out in some unique ways with the Warshawski. But what I wanted to start out with was looking at the Wicked Witch and Glinda the Good, and then I just for sheer argument, I stuck this other picture in here, and she's actually a Wiccan. You can see she's sort of like a little bit of a compromise between the two of them, but she has no other relevance other than I wanted to give these two extremes, and I thought I'd put something in the middle that was a little more balanced. I'm going to read to you a little bit that I wrote and then some things that you haven't read yet. It says, did it ever strike you that the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good are classic doppelgangers or doubles? And we talked about that concept when we were looking at Russell and Don Levy, and also Russell and Holmes, this idea of the double. It certainly got Gregory Maguire, who's the author of Wicked, a fun book, although very complicated, which has been turned into a smash Broadway musical. You should check out the wonderful song. It's called "What Is This Feeling?" And it's these two women, who Glinda the Good, and in the musical, Glinda the Good and the Wicked Witch of the West end up being roommates in college, and they sing this song to each other about how much they hate each other. They say, the chorus goes, "Loathing, unadulterated loathing for your face, your voice, your clothing. Every little thing, no matter however small, makes my very flesh begin to crawl." It's very nice. But it's just to take it to a little bit more serious level. This is a classic relationship of doppelgangers, that they are so close, and yet they are so antithetical to each other. They're people who are in conflict and locked in this kind of inseparable union. Bad girls, like the Wicked Witch of the West, use their powers to advance their own ends. Good girls, like Glinda the Good, use their powers to make the world a better place, to serve others. Both have power, both surrender something in order to use that power. But it's very instructive to look at the movie versions of the Good Witch, Bad Witch team. And I know Glinda the Good isn't really a witch, but work with me here, okay? So, the Wicked Witch of the West. Let's look at her again. You see her, besides the fact that she's green, she's green, but let's put that aside. She's, we don't have to put this aside, but let's come back to that in a second. She's lean and wiry, she's flat-chested, she's asexual, even though she's wearing a dress, but notice how the dress, it conceals her femininity. She's covered from neck to foot, rather than emphasizing it. She's sexually ambiguous, because she has a lot of, things that we even subconsciously identify as male-related. She has thin lips. She has scraggly hair. Her features are very strong. Said the strong featured teacher, but her features are very strong. She has a big nose. She has a pointy chin, high cheekbones. She's kind of fierce looking. She has those big eyebrows. So in the movie, she also has this harsh voice, and she's like, "I'll get you, my pretty." If you go to if you check out the link that will take you to YouTube, you can see, you could look at how she speaks and sort of see her in action. Now, in contrast, Glinda the Good is her complete opposite. And we'll go up, let's go up and look at her again. Look how pretty she is, isn't she sweet? Aww. By the way, in case you hadn't guessed, I'm totally on the Wicked Witch of the West Side. But notice her, everything about her. I mean, we can put her crown aside, but uh, she's curvaceous, she's feminine, she has soft lips and big eyes that are very gentle. She has this, her hair is all pretty, she spent time on it. She's got her princessy dress that shows her neck and you can see her bosom, oh hooray. And she's got this beautiful, sweet voice, if you recall from the movie. Again, go to YouTube and check out a clip, because it's really, really instructive to see how different they are. Now, like I said, they both have power. One, obviously the Wicked Witch of the West, sacrifices likableness and humanity to wield it. In other words, she has power. She can disappear and appear at will. She can do all kinds of stuff, but the cost of that power is that she's not likable. Her only relationship to people is one of fear and loathing and of domination. On the other hand, the other surrenders herself to selflessness, to wield it. In other words, okay, I have this power, but what I do with my power is that I serve other people. And that has certain costs as well, okay? So I've set up these two, I wanted to look at these two characters because they get at the heart of a trade-off that active female characters in fiction, it's not just in detective fiction, have to negotiate. I am not saying that it doesn't exist, but I would challenge you to find a female detective who is not an other in some way, who is not separate. Now, this is complicated by the fact that we've identified that this is true of all the detectives we've seen, that they are in one way or another separate from larger society. They are not integrated. And in fact, this is an occupational hazard of being a detective. Okay, so let's look at V.I. Warshawski. What's her history? We know that she's an orphan. I mean, her mother died when she was relatively young, and her father died as well. She has this history of law enforcement in her past. Her dad was on the force, and she has relationships established with them. But she also has this connection to art. And I wanted to take you guys back for a minute and think about how often we've seen this with detectives. Think about Sherlock Holmes. Think about Dalgliesh, about Adam Dalgliesh, and he's a poet. Sherlock Holmes is really into art and to beauty and to playing the violin. And think about what that is. And I would like to, V.I. Warshawski sings opera, she learned music from her mom, she plays the piano, she's got all these kind of cultured things. And I think that this little strain in here, it's something we've talked about a little bit, is an indicator of a number of things. First of all, it indicates socioeconomic class, where these people are intellectually and emotionally. They know what art is, they have access to it. But it also indicates that there's a creative, ungoverned, open side to them, something that goes beyond this ability to analyze and to think. So it's worth thinking about that in terms of V.I. Warshawski, and that's what she does, like Sherlock Holmes and Adam Dalgliesh. She goes to the world of art when she's feeling stressed out, and this is something that helps her unwind, okay? Now, I mentioned socioeconomic class, but let's come back to that. She's somebody who likes to live well. She knows about the good things in life. She doesn't have a lot of money, but that's by choice. Remember that she got a law degree. She was married to an attorney. She could have been living the Upper West, or she could have been living an upper class lifestyle, and she's chosen not to. She's taken herself out of conformity and put herself in the outer ring of society. She's somebody looking in. She's somebody interacting with law enforcement and with crime and with people in business in an adversarial and in a challenging sort of way. She's happier outside it than inside it. We'll also have to look at physical details. She's beautiful. People respond to her physically. because she's attractive, she keeps herself in shape. I don't know if you remember from the beginning of the book, she, even though it's like 100 degrees in the shade, she goes, well, I didn't run for 3 or 4 days, I'm going to go and get on, I got to go running, I have to do it. So she takes care of herself. She's physically, not just physically independent, but she's physically formidable in a way that beauty and strength make her, okay? She's also in control of her sexuality. She's a person apart. But it's worth noticing, and this goes back to the fact that she is an orphan. She is a woman apart. Now, she has female friends, and she has male friends. It's not that she doesn't have friends, but basically her relationship to the world is at a degree of separation. Now, this isn't something that's unique to her being a woman, because, of course, we've seen this in many, many of the detectives. In fact, what I was going to say earlier was, it's amazing that here, again, we have this person who, although she is a woman, and we sort of secretly look, and I'll talk about this in a moment, we sort of secretly look for, well, where's the man? Where's the kids? Where's the life? Like, we expect women to have a life. We can sort of accept that men don't, but we have a much harder time understanding women who don't. I'm hard to put. I'm trying to think of a female detective in any literature who is integrated into a family life and into the sort of modern day, realities of just living your life in suburban America. And I'll come back to that in a minute, okay? So, a question that I said is, what makes it narratively okay for her to cross-dress? In other words, she is, as I've suggested in the wrap-up questions, she is a woman who is 100% in the mold of past detectives, of the the hard-boiled private eye. She's got that. She's got the gun. She's got the, she takes a beating. She's, she has all these things, but she's put on this mantle. She's put on this identity. I don't mean it's fake. I'm just saying that she's a woman, and she's typed as a woman. She's beautiful. She's attractive. She's not the Wicked Witch of the West physically. She's a lot closer to Glinda the Good. But in terms of her steely resolve and her separateness and her, ability to kind of protect herself, she's a little bit over on the Wicked Witch of the West side. And I have this friend whose dad always likes to say, everything costs. So the question is, what does it cost her to be able to do this? And I'd like to suggest that the cost is the classic cost. It's the one that we've been seeing again and again. We have a sense of what we think is normal, most of us. The vast majority of us think of, well, it'll probably be my fate at some point to be married. Many of us think we'll have kids. The majority of us seek out life partners. We have an expectation that we'll be integrated with our family. This isn't everybody, of course. I mean, there are many people who that's not true for. But as I've talked to you over the course of the semester, one of the things that's come up again and again is how we really do respond so strongly to the normative behaviors of society, the things that we do in Western society, to sort of make us feel, like we're in some ways like everybody else, for better and for worse. And I would suggest that the cost for the female detective is particularly poignant here. It's particularly poignant because of what the majority of us expect for women. And what we come to a narrative that has a woman in it, and we're wanting her to find a happily ever after. Am I suggesting that this is a good thing or a bad thing? No. I'm just suggesting there are certain narrative tensions that we feel, they're almost subconscious, and that the fact that she is outside that realm, and that she's also young and beautiful, sets up this this really, really interesting tension that makes us look. I mean, this is one of the things that Paretsky does, is that she forces the reader to look at their expectations and their suppositions. And I think it's a real fascinating thing about these about coming to these kinds of novels, having read Laurie King, and thought about that with Russell in the 19th century um, setting. It's instructive to see that somehow being a detective unsuits Warshawski for being a regular person. And the question is whether it's worth it for all its people. And when we get into that realm, then we start to ask, well, you know, what would make it worth it? It's sure not the money. Is it the excitement? Is it the ability to bring about justice? I mean, if you think about her, she's sort of a battler against, you know, the establishment and the big banks and the big business and the insurance fraud and all this kind of stuff. She's somebody who has a real sense of right, has a sense of public service and of duty. But when we come to the end of the day, what we see is this fascinating character who is both Glinda the Good and the Wicked Witch of the West. On the one hand, she's somebody who has tremendous power, but gives up a certain range of very important things to wield it, in terms of being a normal person, woman in society. And on the other hand, she's Glinda the Good, because she also sacrifices for her friends and for people that she cares about or feels should be taken care of. She wants to be in there for the little guy. So anyway, I just want to close by saying thank you very much, and please be interested to hear your thoughts about V.I. Warshawski and what you got from the book. Thanks so much, and have a great day. Bye.